Ever get that feeling? Like something's off in your relationship.
Yeah.
That maybe, just maybe, your partner's not as into it as they used to be.
Oh, absolutely. It's a pretty common worry and a tough one.
Yeah. And today we're going to dive into 5 big signs, things relationship experts say could point to a partner losing interest.
Right. And the idea isn't to freak anyone out.
Definitely not. It's
Yeah.
about understanding what's going on, getting some clarity.
Exact.
So we'll be looking at communication changes, like when it slows down
Mhm.
and all the physical and emotional distance stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Plus, if the effort's fading, if future plans are a no-go zone, and even uh, if criticism's on the rise.
All those tricky topics.
Let's jump right in. So first up, communication. It's more than just like being less chatty, right?
Totally. It's a pattern, or a real shift you can feel. Like, how often are you talking? How deep are those conversations? And is there still that same energy?
Right. In the beginning, it's all those long texts sharing every little thing.
For sure. And then you start to notice maybe one person's always the one reaching out.
Yeah. And the replies.
Yeah.
Short, like they're just going through the motions.
Exactly. And that can really sting. You remember Sarah and Mark, right? They used to text nonstop.
Oh, totally. And then it was Sarah initiating everything, and Mark would just give these one-word answers about his day.
Oof. Yeah, you could just feel that distance growing between them. It's almost like they stopped being curious about each other's lives.
Yeah, they weren't asking those questions anymore. And that curiosity, wanting to know what your partner's up to, how they're feeling, I think that's super important.
Absolutely. When that starts to fade, it can be a sign that something's changing.
Okay, so next, physical and emotional distance. This feels like, I don't know, kind of a core thing in relationships,
It is, yeah. It's about both physical affection, like hugging, holding hands, all that.
right? Just being close.
Yeah, and then there's the emotional side. You might feel like the conversations are more surface level. And even when you're physically together, you feel emotionally miles apart.
It's like they've put up a wall.
Exactly, and you don't feel supported or encouraged like you used to.
It reminds me of Maria and David. They used to be all over each other, cuddling, kissing.
Oh, yeah, I remember them.
And then, slowly, David started sitting further away. He rarely touched Maria, and their conversations got shorter, way less personal.
It's like the physical and emotional distance, they just happened at the same time.
They did. So what causes this distance? Is it like loss of attraction?
It could be, yeah. Maybe physical, maybe emotional. It could also be that they're just not connecting emotionally anymore.
Right.
Or maybe there are some unresolved issues creating a barrier.
Uh-huh.
Or it could be as simple as their focus has shifted to other things in their life.
Okay, that makes sense. Our third sign is all about effort, or rather, a lack of it.
Right, a lack of initiative, and that can be really disheartening to the other person.
Oh, for sure. It makes you feel like you're the only one trying.
It does. So think about it. Are you always the one suggesting dates, planning activities?
Oh.
Are you always the one starting conversations?
Ugh, yes.
And what about cancellations? Are they happening a lot without any effort to reschedule?
Okay, now you're just describing my life.
Well, that might be a sign that the relationship isn't as high of a priority for them as it used to be.
Right. It's like Ben and Lisa. I mean, in the beginning, Ben would plan these amazing dates really thoughtful.
Uh-huh.
But then it was Lisa always suggesting things, and Ben would either agree, like half-heartedly, or cancel last minute without offering any alternatives.
That imbalance where one person is putting in all the effort, that's a pretty big red flag.
Yeah, it's definitely not a good sign. All right, the fourth sign we've got is avoiding future talk. I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory, right?
Yeah, I mean, if your partner doesn't want to talk about the future, it's usually not a great sign.
It's like they're not seeing you in their future.
Exactly. So think about it. Do they change the subject when you bring up vacations, holidays, future plans? Oh, or even just like where the relationship's headed.
Totally. Did they give you vague answers like, we'll see, or maybe someday?
The worst.
And do they make individual plans without including you, like trips or events?
Yeah, that hurt.
Or maybe you've talked about taking big steps together, like moving in, marriage, kids, but now they seem to avoid those conversations altogether.
It's like Emily and Josh. Emily wanted to talk about trips they could take, meeting each other's families, all that.
Right.
And Josh just became so evasive. Like whenever Emily brought up vacation plans, he'd shut down, give those non-committal answers.
Yeah, that's tough. When someone's hesitant to talk about the future with you, it could mean they're just not sure about their feelings anymore.
Right.
Or they're scared of commitment.
Or maybe their goals have changed.
Exactly. Or, maybe deep down they're starting to realize they don't see a future with you.
Okay, and our last sign today is increased criticism and irritability.
Yeah, this one can be really draining on a relationship because it's just like constant negativity.
It is. You might notice your partner nitpicking little things, getting annoyed by stuff they used to be totally fine with.
Right, like suddenly everything you do is wrong.
Exactly. They might get angry or argumentative over really minor things.
And even criticize your appearance, your choices, your interests, stuff like
Yeah.
that.
And sometimes it feels like they're almost looking for a fight.
Or they're just constantly complaining about you, about the relationship, about everything.
Right. It's Olivia and Nathan. Nathan used to be so patient, so understanding,
Hmm.
but then he started criticizing Olivia all the time. Her cooking, her spending habits, everything.
Wow.
And he got annoyed really easily.
So why does this happen?
Well, it could be that they're just unhappy in the relationship and they're not sure how to express it. So
Right.
they start taking it out on you.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe it's a way of creating distance without actually having to say, hey, I want out.
Okay, that makes sense.
Or it could be that they've just checked out emotionally and they're not even trying anymore.
Well, that's a lot to think about. It can be really hard to spot these shifts when you're in the middle of it, but hopefully this gives everyone listening a little bit of perspective.
Definitely. And remember, if you're seeing these signs in your relationship, you're not alone. This stuff happens.
It does. So what should someone do if they're, noticing these things?
Well, first, I'd say try talking to your partner. Have an open and honest conversation.
But like, how do you even start that conversation?
Just be direct. Tell them what you've been noticing and how it's making you feel. But try to do it from a place of understanding, not blame.
Right, because you want to work things out. What if
Exactly.
they get defensive?
That can happen. But just try to stay calm and focus on listening to what they have to say.
Yeah.
Maybe they're going through something you don't even know about.
And it's also okay to trust your gut.
Absolutely. If something feels off, don't ignore it.
And don't be afraid to reach out for support. Talk to your friends, your family, or even consider talking to a therapist.
Great advice. Remember, these signs don't automatically mean the relationship is over,
That's important.
but they do suggest there's a change happening that needs to be addressed.
So now that you're more aware of these potential red flags, what subtle things in your everyday interactions with your partner might give you even deeper insights into how your relationship is doing? Think about that.
That's a great question to leave everyone with.
Thanks for joining us today for this deep dive.
It was my pleasure.
Until next time.
See you then.